Well, it has been somewhat interesting to say the least. What's going on? Bitcoin's taken a slump, Ethereum's taken a slump, and everyone is just slumped out. Welcome to Friday. It's Friday. Anyways, jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, buy the blood. That's what this is looking like. Now, let me put things into perspective. There's 6 things that usually happen that lead up to a correction in the marketplace. 5 of those things have happened. I'm not going to dive into what they are because that will bore the hell out of you. But we're waiting for one more thing, and that's the Federal Reserve. The idea is that if the Federal Reserve is in line with its expectations of cutting rates, and they get down to that 3.3, 3.2%, which is what they're trying to achieve going into next year, that's going to effectively give us the bursting of the bubble. What does that mean? Well, we will get a massive move up. $6.6 trillion is currently sat in money markets, ETFs and what have you. And those guys are going to see that interest rates are coming down on the dollar. That means there's no point in retaining dollars anymore. Let's start putting the money to work. So then that logic then suggests I'll go and buy stock. So all the stocks that have pulled back, and then we go into 2025 and then we get earnings call coming in, and those companies are still doing good with their earnings and EPS, earnings per share returns for their stockholders. Everything's going to be climbing up, and then the $6.6 trillion worth of money in money markets is going to go into those high volatile stocks. You get your explosive move to the upside. Welcome correction. It's the best time for it. And the Federal Reserve, in principle, is the only thing that's stopping that from happening. What we're going to do in today's live stream, guys, is I'm going to share to you the idea of buying the blood. I took a trade this morning and showcasing that logic and helping you understand when to pick certain spots. Buying the blood is a term coined by Mr. Warren Buffett, where he says when everything's going to the pan, that's when you buy. Now, the thing behind the buying is you've got to have capital or be able to withstand in case there is a little bit more blood to be had. Some of you are coming into the live with your little vampiric comments. I'm tasting this blood, but I'm not convinced just yet. That's the sort of mentality you've got to have when you are buying the blood. Is this move in cryptocurrency designed to bring everything back up? Well, we can see that it has done a very successful reversal to the upside. Will it be sustained? Well, we're going to know very shortly and going into the weekend if that's going to be the case. We are now heading into the Christmas week. You want to play low liquidity zones. And of course, we're heading in towards the end of the year where portfolio managers are going to start readjusting capital. So there will be volatility. You better pay yourselves. That's all I'm saying to you all. All right. If you manage to grab something, walk away. Go and enjoy your Christmas with your families. Don't be sat at the table whilst everyone's all high in their festive spirits and you're the dude that just lost $5,000 because you wanted to exploit a little bit of a movement on Bitcoin. Don't do it, man. There's a lot of blood right now. Everyone's cussing on X right now. They are going crazy. They cannot believe their eyes. They're just going absolutely mad for it. So we're going to break it all down for you. And by the time we're done with this live, you should be leaving here with a little bit of information that might serve you. Okay? So let's get with the program, gang. Here we go. Retail sales just come in. The core price index came in just a few moments ago. Well, a few moments, I say about half an hour ago. It shows that core prices have actually come down. Well, Mr. Jerome Powell. We've now alleviated a little bit of pressure from your good old friend inflation. It doesn't change the fact that you've still got a high employment market, still strong, all right? 4.2% on the unemployment rate. Unemployment claims came in lower this week. That's the only reason why inflation can persist. You've got strength in the GDP. got revised to 3.1%. Strong consumer spending from yesterday. Like, this is all mixing up the pot for inflation yet again, which makes sense why the Federal Reserve revealed this week that it's not going to give us as many rate cuts that we want going into 2025. But the thing is, the markets don't really seem to pay attention to what the Fed's saying. It really isn't. We've had 3 Fed pivots, and the market has said goodbye. It doesn't care. Now, there's a couple of reasons as to why it might not care. Maybe because the market knows that something is coming. And when that event occurs, that's when everyone will be like, I'm all in. You can't have retail loving life right now. Your stock market's at all-time highs. The S&P is breaking records, 50th record, 51st record, I believe. Okay? I mean, it's hitting its all-time high, continuously going up. Bitcoin, all-time high. And like, hey, what do you want from the markets, ladies and gentlemen? Let's be honest now. This is an opportunity for you to consolidate, take money out, and get ready for the start for the new year. But fear and greed don't work like that. And that's what we're going to be addressing right now. Going into it all, the NASDAQ took a little bit of a drop because of course, Novo. A biomedical stock right there has most on record after a new weight drug disappoints. So we can assume that any medical stocks around the environment of drugs being used to facilitate weight loss, okay, they're also probably going to feel the pain of it as well. Okay. And you know, when you're investing into stocks, it's all good looking at one stock. But what you've got to understand is imagine it as a branch. What's that stock saying to you? Is it big on market cap? If it's one of the main players, then look down below to see what other stocks would benefit when news is good for that company or when news is bad for that company. Okay. And if they're usually in the same environment, or should I say sector, then that's usually going to see that if that stock does well, the rest of the gang's going to do well as well. Okay, that's why you might see certain companies that provide news on stocks, they might say industry leaders, sector leaders. You're always going to start with the one that's got the most capital. Sometimes you end up seeing low cap stocks outperforming the major big cap stocks, which is a little bit of a problem because big money should be going into the bigger caps, but it's not. It's going into the small caps, which could mean like there's a rotation with investor sentiment and they want to try and take advantage of small to medium term gains. So take that into consideration when you are considering buying stocks, okay? Now, with that being said, just having a look at what's going on in the space of crypto viva la currency. BlackRock's not doing anything. Refresh this. I'm not seeing anything to be concerned about, right? If the idea that the US is cutting the interest rates, it means the yield on the dollar is going to be coming down. So that means investors are naturally going to want to seek yield elsewhere. Okay? Remember what we were speaking about yesterday, the implied rate. All right? How much can I exploit if I buy euros now or buy dollars now? What's the differential? What am I going to earn? Going into other assets across the board, you can see that euro itself has managed to make a nice climb to the upside. It's been doing really well from these ranges. Remember what we spoke about yesterday in regards to that implied interest rate differential. Those guys obviously came in and now have exploited that logic, which is where you're seeing price making a move to the upside. So we know that hedge investors are actually earning off the difference in the interest rate spread between the euro and the dollar. Given that being said, we had some news last night on the Japanese yen. Their inflation rate came in at 2.9% as opposed to 2.3%, which is what was expected. Japan's inflation has gone up. Statistically and historically, when you've got inflation rising, what do? You reduce the supply. So you increase interest rates. Not in the US, ladies and gentlemen. They do things a little bit differently. When interest rate or inflation goes up, we must cut the rates. But you've got to remember, the US interest rate has been high for a long time. So all that yield that you're getting is going to get consolidated in principle. I'd be very cautious with the Japanese yen. Very cautious. It's bottoming out right now. And we've got a red vector candle region right here. I am expecting the yen to climb. That means the euro's going to climb. That means the dollar's going to reverse. That has to bring it down because dollar yen is trading at significant levels. This is hurting the Japanese yen, which tells me that there's going to be a rotation in terms of the carry. Remember, we've just had a change in interest rates. This is massive for the hedge fund managers. Where can they find the yield on spread of interest rates? They're going to be looking for it. And given that we're going into a new year right now, there's going to be a readjustments in the portfolios as well. So they have to start moving money around. But remember, low liquidity, high volatility. Don't get smacked about. Cryptocurrency right now, ladies and gentlemen, is starting to show an interesting story. 1.4 billion in 24 hours. That's a lot of money being taken. Wait a second. Yesterday, it was 1.1. Then it went on to 1.2. And then it goes on to the old 1.4 billion. What is retail doing with their profits? Screenshotting, showing a friend? What on earth is that? It's unbelievable, man. You've got to take money out of this game as often as you can, depending on what kind of style of trading that you do. Let's explain what I did. Here we go. So this was my play from, so I did three trades, okay? So there was yesterday's trade, which I've already shown you on Ethereum, where we took a short sell side, took advantage of that, and we made a nice little 10 grand yesterday during the live. So yeah, I closed it during that live, okay? I may have left some on the table, most definitely left some on the table, okay? Then last night, I exploited a long on Ethereum from 3,410 to 3,441. It was during the Asian session last night where we saw a nice little return up. Back into, well, Asia came away from the daily open and then moved back into that zone. Closed off for around $3,305. So that was a nice little gain there. And then this morning, on the logic of Ethereum printing a V-shaped reversal W formation. So I shared this logic this morning with the Platinum members, okay? And it's called Trading the Blood. And I was explaining to them in this video how to do and apply this logic. And there was a structured chart right here, which I'll show you what I'm talking about, which is something that you've actually seen me talk about many a times. Now, the usual thing is what I look for when I'm waiting for a V-shaped reversal, because the actual trade itself, I'll show you in, I'll show you what it looked like at the time. Here we go. Where is it? Where are we? Here we go. So this was the actual trade, okay? Now, I closed off at 3,222, and that netted me, where was it? Let me just go back into it. Yeah, that netted me $8,000 this morning, okay? So it had a really good return. The entry point was 3,139, and the exit was 3,222. So we've cleared a nice little 8K right there. This is where my entry was, right here, okay? That's my entry point. So we buy when it's dropping. All right, there was a little bit of behavior here, but I was paying attention to the order flow, and I could see there were a couple of vector candles appearing on the smaller time frames. Go into your Ethereum, and I did leave money on the table with that, but I can't do nothing about it. That's the name of the game. But we go to the 1 minute time frame, and we have a look at what was going on. So this is where I was taking my longs. What am I witnessing? What am I saying all the time? Wait for the green and blue vector candles. And that's what was going on right here. Okay, so in that Platinum membership was talking about that logic right here to help them understand how to exploit that. But you've got to wait for the vectors to come into play. Okay, 1 minute time frame, 5 minute time frame, or even the 15-minute time frame. The structure is still the same. Okay, so that's what I did this morning. I exploited that, and there is the example right there. It's a very small W formation, but I acted on that, but I could see the collection of vector candles coming into play, and then that led to the move all the way up towards the 3,222 where I closed, and I left money on the table. Simple as that. But there was news announcements, and I can't take that risk. I can't take that risk because I don't know it's going to continue to the upside. All I know is I've got profit in the chart, and my goal was to trade back up towards the VWAP, and I traded towards the VWAP, but it started to pull back from that point. So that's how I'm actually trying to find opportunities. I always wait for the green and blue vector candles to appear at the lows of the move, because then that tells me there's a pause in the actual move to the downside. And the green vectors suggest to me that the bids were coming into play and starting to offer out, okay? If I go over to Ethereum on the depth of market, and this is what I was doing. At the time when I was waiting to take the trade, I was waiting for the new 4-hour candle to start. Look at all these guys selling into the bids. They were buying up at the lows of that candlestick. There were, look, no offers there. So I said to myself, wait for the start of the new 4-hour candle, and then you start to see and apply the logic that they're going to start offering higher because they've been buying all this time right here, okay? And that's what happened. I started to buy inside the 3,300 and 3,139. This was my entry range right here. Look at the offers. So they started to offer price higher, and then it just shot back up. I closed off in this area here because that's where I started to meet the resistances of offers, of bids. But then it continued higher. Never mind. It doesn't matter because I never knew that that was going to be the case of it going back up again. Principally on the principle of vector candles, yeah, they've recovered the V-shaped reversal. It's worked out a treat. They fully recovered the red vector candles. Look at all of that. And that's why I'm suggesting today that the logic is you're buying the blood. Remember last night when we spoke about the volatility index? Look at that. The volatility index, when it's trading at significant highs after volatility has come in, suggesting that people are scared. That's when you buy. Go back and study the peaks. The volatility index at best of times, guys, when it's flatlining, it means there's no volatility. There's nothing to be had. That's why you're trying to scalping certain moves, right? And you're not really seeing a good rate of return. But when you see the volatility index move significantly, so when you see a trend like that, okay, I got to start paying attention, all right? And this is the problem with the volatility index. I mean, look at this. That is divine. That was the Bank of Japan increasing their interest rates. We get another one of those, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my days. Ah, that would be divine. It's already starting to give us that, okay? We could be in line for another move up to 29 because if we get to 30, that historically is the point when the blood across the board is just pouring from people's veins. They're bleeding their portfolios. They don't know what to do. We are so scared. We are so upset. Smart money concepts in principle is showing that smart money is actually starting to buy right now. They've already been selling. They've been selling all this time. They're going to start buying right now, which is where the blue line's starting to come up and the retail line is going down because retail says, nope, we don't care. We're just going to be buying, buying, buying. And that's usually what happens with cryptocurrency as well, ladies and gentlemen, because looking at Bitcoin's price action right now, you can see it's come down to a very significant area. And if you recall, when we were talking about this on the daily time frame, we had said that if we get an invalidation of the 5 and 13 EMA, then prices are more than likely going to go down. And that's what this candlestick was. The first day of that close right there, and then it ended up sending price lower. And now it's tested 50 EMA for the first time in a very long time. When I say very long time, from this perspective, on the 12th of October, that's not really a long time. But for the markets, it's a huge rally to the upside to consistently keep on marking higher and higher. Notice how price has got a little bit choppy as it's come towards these areas up here, okay? Now, this is where we have to pay close attention, especially for holders, okay? You are effectively presented with the logic that things are still intact for Bitcoin. Now, I am seeing price projections across the board. Yes, 2 days ago, it was 125K. Now it's looking like 88,000, 85,000. It's amazing how it all changes, okay? But looking at the chart here, I've got on the 5-minute time frame of Bitcoin on the bid and offers. Let me just quickly go over to it. So 44,284 traders were liquidated in the last hour. That is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But look, they've been buying. Buy the blood. Someone went long, 96,000, 13 million. Happy days. Go down here. What we got? 4 million at 92,228. Going up here, we got 2.27 million. And then we go up here a little bit. We got 3.3 million, 93,000. So there has been a lot of buying activity coming into play this morning or going in from last night. There you go, 3.37 at 92.6. We got another bid right here coming into the book for 3 million. It's just been filled. And now we're looking at the offers right here, which could effectively send prices higher to the upside. Can you check TEMA? It holds strong moving up. Give me a second. Let me just check TEMA. Here we go. So this has been a bit of a mad asset. You're talking about this one, yeah? TEMA. Yeah. Is this what you're talking about? That hasn't held strong. It sort of is holding strong. I mean, it did peak out, but I mean, it's doing all right here, but I'm guessing most people looking at the Bitcoin dominance thinking, okay, so yeah, it's coming down, but yeah, they're coming back. Yeah, dominance is coming back. Just do this. Look at this. For every red vector candle that you see in the dominance, they're coming back to it, right? Vector, return. Vector, return. Vector, return. I expect dominance to keep going up. That's my logic. Yeah, back into Bitcoin. Here we go. So yeah, Tino, does a government shutdown affect the markets? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It all depends on the reasoning for the shutdown. Okay? If you have got a dispute on fiscal policy, okay? Like if you remember what happened when it came to regards to debt ceiling, okay? And there was all that concern about it all. You've got to say to yourself, well, what reason, why would the market react to whether or not the Fed's going to, increase the supply of money that's going to be put out there, So it all depends on the reasoning for it. And then the markets will be like, okay, we don't like the sound of that if that person gets through with their bill or that person gets through with their bill, okay? So it all depends on the reasoning for it. Tino, you was bullish on Bitcoin yesterday. I'm always bullish on Bitcoin. I think you watch the lives a little bit backwards, my brother. I don't think you hear what I'm saying. This is buying. You trade the blood. You buy. Saying it yesterday. Never mind. Tino, what if someone falls through your ceiling? Well, never mind. Tino, if you have profit, why don't you use stop loss and keep bringing up the scale to the upside? Because I don't have the patience to sit and watch a stop loss moving up and down. I want to get the money in and get the money out. I want to make the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. I want to put down the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time to make the most amount of money. That's what scalpers do. We exploit certain movements, right? I caught the move that I needed to. That's it. I'm done. I don't need to worry about it now. I don't care what it does. It can shoot up to the upside. It can do whatever it wants. Okay. I would need to see a bit more of a corrective move down to then say, okay, I'll try and get back in again. All right. But I've done the move. Happy days. And Ethereum right now, what's it trading at? Ethereum is, it's just climbing up. 320. Look at that. I could, so at this point here was around $8,500. If it was up to here, it will probably be around $17,000, $18,000 worth of profit in that move. Did I know that was going to happen? No, not really. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. I can't complain, man. Made a nice flip for a trade that was opened. When was the trade? Okay. So 10 to 12. I opened the trade at 10 to 12 and I got out at 1:15. I can't complain. For an hour and a bit's work. Why do I need more? Realistically, why do I need to make more? Done. That's why I'm detached from, if I've made money, then I'm done. Why do I need to try and make more? Playing the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Why didn't you set a stop loss? Because I've been in trades too many times to play that logic of a stop loss for it to get taken out. Why don't you just take the money from the second that you believe that the move is done? Get out. Walk away, man. Shouldn't even be trading these times because the liquidity is dead. This is just volatility, So that's the logic for me, man. That's my logic. Bitcoin, we have a red vector candle at 103.751. Can we recover it soon? 103.571. That's all the way up here, my friend. Okay. That's all the way up there. Now, if you're going to consider wanting to trade that logic, you have to have a lot of freedom, because what Bitcoin can do is it can come up, it can then sweep lower, consolidate, stop run, then make the recovery. What you're waiting for is you're waiting for the first instance where Bitcoin sets a low, moves away from it, comes back into it, doesn't like it, and goes away, which is in principle what we spoke about for the platinum members, which is this logic right here. Okay. This chart puts it into perspective. Allow room for the vectors to get recovered and price to hold this range. That's what you're looking for. This is the breakout range right here. So you take your trades on that logic. They attack the range to the downside, reversal back up, short squeeze on the traders, make them think it's coming back down again, so they get back in to go short. Open interest is coming into play. Longs are getting attacked right now. They're now believing that prices are going to go lower. Awesome. Then it comes out and makes the move to the upside. Green vector candle should be appearing inside of there. And this principle here is the principle of the pattern, as in the rise, the retrace, the continuation to the upside. Okay. I'm going to be talking about, in tomorrow's weekly review, I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin's drop and what we need to be aware of when we are looking for that drop to happen in the future, because I know it's going to happen again, but I'm going to be diving into how we can prepare ourselves for something like that. What things do we need to be mindful of? Okay. Now, remember, guys, there's a discount on the Platinum membership and you get 20% off your first month. It's in the description. It's called Christmas. So get yourself involved and you get to be able to take advantage of this stuff right here that we do every single day. Okay, cool. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen, before we finalize? Think NVIDIA can catch a bid here. Strong EU news. What's the depth looking like? Okay, that might not be for me. Don't expect 100K again until next year. Oh, it's all coming now, isn't it? It's all happening right now. Don't expect 100K again until next year. I mean, bruv, it's not too far away. You know, it moved, what? Yeah, 5 grand in Asia, and that's the Asian session where the liquidity tends to be a bit low, but nothing stopping Bitcoin from reclaiming the 100K again. Nothing at all. I mean, it is close, you know? Tina, what do you think for ETH? The blood will continue, or we should load up a bit more? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you are effectively playing the idea that retail has just been shaken out. And I've seen so much on X right now that has been going crazy. People smashing up desks, going crazy about it all. I don't know if it's staged or not, but you can appreciate that a lot of people lost a lot of money in the last few hours as such. That's why I'm saying to you guys, if you are a holder of Bitcoin, then this move, technically speaking, it looks intimidating to the downside, but technically this move right here is nothing. You cannot complain about 3 candlesticks, and 2 of which are giving you a clue as to where they're likely to end up in the future. Okay? No one cared when no one was complaining about this happening here. No one cared. No, it was like, you're Bitcoin up. Yeah, man, we're making money. You had 2 days of negative play right there, and we didn't get the same reaction as we had with candlesticks, which are technically still in line with the structure to the upside. Holders, you've got to be mindful, right? These 3 candle days right here is like a retrace on the 1 minute time frame for me. That's what this is for you guys. You've just had your first test of the 50 EMA. Now, if this candlestick cannot sustain itself above the 5 and 13 EMA, we've got a problem. Why? Because then that means if the next day's candle comes in and Bitcoin drops down even more, and we see then a vector candle recovery towards the 80,000 mark, then that would mean that the 5 and 13 EMA have crossed over the 50 EMA. You have now got your criteria for a corrective move to the downside, where the biggest consolidation that's ever happened in Bitcoin at close to its all-time high was right here. And that's this range right there. Tell me why it would not be a valid spot for Bitcoin to return to. Tell me why. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. I lost my wife to agree. Bruv, stop it. Bitcoin is no big deal. People are completely losing there because everyone was expecting alt season to start a week ago. That's what I mean. It may actually start. You don't know. But like I said to you, they ain't taking their profits from the ETF and putting it into an altcoin. They just about struggle to get people to buy Bitcoin. You think they're going to go and buy Fetch AI? Good stock. It's a good coin. Think they're going to go and buy Chainlink? Good coin. Endorsed by Google in principle. All right. Other fart coin. Look at that. That's just killing it right now. You think they're going to be getting rid of their ETFs to transition over into the altcoin? That's what I mean. That's what keeps liquidity in the markets. And that's why prices keep going down, because we have this expectation. Remember, you guys were playing crypto before Wall Street, before you had the influence of Wall Street. You can't have the same thinking going into it again. You can't. It's changed. Money's different now. Money is different. And it's come from a very tricky source. All right? Wall Street loves the color of money. Doesn't care about your diamond balls or your diamond. I saw it on X earlier on today. Diamond balls. That was funny. Any other questions, guys, before we call it? Forget seasons ASAP if you want to succeed in this game. Do you know what, guys? I will tell you this, okay? And I will give you this as a final closing thought, all right? If you're in for crypto because of the idea, you technically should never look at a YouTuber ever again, never listen to anyone or anything, and you need to be fixated on the idea of what cryptocurrency is all about. You are the decentralization players. You are the mascots, the ambassadors. You believe in a brighter future that comes away from fiat freedom to the man. But if you're here to make money, do something about it. When you get it presented to you and you've got a profit, walk away from it, because you'll complain about what you didn't do, but you won't complain if you do it. If you're here to make money in cryptocurrency and it gets presented to you, take it, because there is no loyalty when it comes to trading. There isn't. One man's fun is another's hell. And if you are struggling to pay yourself in this game, just remember, when you get burnt out, when you lose money, it's going to someone else. If you like that feeling, hold on to your crypto idea. But that idea is being challenged every single day. When Bloomberg, JP Morgan, Reuters, Financial Times, when they all start throwing up cryptocurrency in their articles, Wall Street's influence is only going to go onto the mum and dad investors. Those mum and dad investors have been programmed to make money, to take money, to make yield. And I think the guys in cryptocurrency wouldn't be losing their minds if they were trying to take profits. You're playing cycles. That's all you're doing. Wall Street cycles. Unfortunately, in my opinion, crypto cycles might be challenged. If you've enjoyed today's live stream, be sure to like and subscribe, guys. I've got some Christmas outfits to put on for next week's lives. Take care of yourself, gang.